Princess Charlotte struggled to get her father to approve of her love interest, so it was not surprised that her choice of groom would take some time to convince him. She had to go to desperate measures to change his mind. In January 1816, it had been nearly a year of her time invested in a man that she was unsure whether her father would ever approve of. Please continue to support my channel by subscribing. So she decided to travel all the way to Brighton to where her father was staying, where she bowed down at his feet and begged him to allow her to marry her lover. She promised him that no one will be more steady or consistent in this, their present and last engagement, than myself. Her father was finally assured that she would bring no more drama via broken engagements, and finally he crumbled to her demands. He then made her lover an offer he could not refuse. Although he had let his daughter know of his approval, he would still make her new lover sweat for his approval, separately, in a series of hoops for him to jump through. He invited Leopold to Brighton to interview him, and surprisingly and luckily, the young prince passed the test, leading even the intractable George to say that he had every qualification to make a woman happy. Royal weddings are always filled with opulent wealth, and this was no different. The couple were blissfully in love and triumphant at long last. Charlotte married her long-courting lover on the 2nd of May 1816 in the crimson drawing-room of Carlton House. Leopold was dressed in his British general uniform while Charlotte wore a lavish wedding gown worth thousands of pounds. The day did not go ahead without drama, of course. This was Princess Charlotte. She had a wicked sense of humour, and during the ceremony she giggled when Leopold, who was notoriously poor, promised to give her all of his worldly goods. The public were joyous that she had finally found a husband and that her romantic scandals were behind her. She was a young new bride of Britain, with a bright, long and happy future ahead of her, but unfortunately tragedy was about to strike. Their newlywed life started off swimmingly. They shared a honeymoon at Charlotte's uncle's estate at Oatland Palace. The palace was reportedly full of dogs, but even the dog odour did not seem to deter the newlywed couple. Charlotte later reported that Leopold was the perfection of a lover, and that wasn't all. The princess was changing. Her rebellious ways that had manifested from years of toxicity and oppression was waning, and she was becoming calmer, loving, warm and kind. Leopold was having an impact on her in a positive way, and when she got overexcited, Leopold would only have to say to her, "Doucement, chérie," or "Gently, my love," and she would still under his gaze. Charlotte even took to cheekily calling her husband douchement. They returned from the honeymoon and threw themselves into the royal social scene in London, attending a number of balls and operas together. It came as a surprise that one day, while attending the opera, that Charlotte became suddenly and violently ill. It was during this night that the young princess had suffered from an early pregnancy loss, and she was mourning this loss, and the couple retreated to their estate until they appeared in public once again for her 21st birthday. As a royal married woman, it was her duty to produce children for the family, and she did so again when she fell pregnant in April of 1817. The nation were ecstatic for the couple, and Leopold wrote to his father-in-law, assuring him that Charlotte was likely to carry this child to term. Even the local betting shops got involved in the action, taking bets on whether the new heir would be a boy or a girl. As Charlotte's belly grew bigger, strange concerns started to arise. The regency period still hadn't gotten a handle on childbirth, and many medical professionals were at a complete odds with Charlotte's body. She ate plentifully and stayed mostly as hereditary, her medical team insisted that she go on a strict diet because they were worried the child would be too big. For what it's worth, even other doctors of the time thought this regime was ridiculous, especially after Charlotte grew weak and started experiencing spotting. One of Leopold's trusted medical advisors, the Baron Stockmar, was so appalled by these tactics that he refused to join the royal medical team for fear that something would go wrong, and he didn't have to wait very long to be proven right. Charlotte put a man in charge of her birth that was not a doctor. She appointed him chief medical point person, and he was called Sir Richard Croft. His prediction was a birth date of the 19th of October, but this date came and went, as well as more weeks afterwards. A new month had arrived, and on the 3rd of November Charlotte started to go into labour. The household fell into a state of subtle panic. Croft advised that she should exercise and refrain from eating during labour. Join me in the final part 5 to learn how the birth of her first child would end so tragically, resulting in the death of both Princess Charlotte and her newborn son. Please continue to support my channel by subscribing. Please comment, like and subscribe if you wish for more stories, and leave your suggestions below and I will endeavour to cover them.